and welcome back to Get Off the Internet, the podcast where we attempt to disconnect in order to connect. I am your host, Nana Jane. So 2024 is fast approaching. When I'm filming this, it is just 2 days until the end of the year. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm honestly so ready to leave 2023 behind. And I feel like ever since 2020, we've learned not to do the whole new year, new me thing. But I'm not going to lie, I have a good feeling about 2024. There's nothing more exciting to me than a shiny new beginning. So, yeah, today I wanted to talk all about manifestation and, yeah, how manifestation has kind of taken over the internet in the past few years. I want to talk about what manifestation actually means. And then, yeah, I want to get into how my thoughts on like how it has made its way into the mainstream and onto the internet and all over the world. And then I want to tell you the story about how I accidentally manifested moving to New York City this year in 2023. And I'm going to give you a step-by-step process on how you can manifest. So first of all, I wrote down what my personal definition of manifestation is, and then I also Googled the definition. So I'm going to give you the rundown. So my personal definition of manifestation is the process of materializing your dream reality by aligning your mind, body, and soul with the feeling of already possessing that which you desire. And I low-key think that my definition was better than the Google definition. The Google definition was bringing something to your life through action, through attraction and belief, which is like, okay, do you want to elaborate on that, Google? And I feel like a key aspect of the law of attraction I feel like a key aspect of manifestation is the law of attraction. So manifestation is based on the law of attraction, and the law of attraction is the belief that positive or negative thoughts bring positive or negative experiences into a person's life. So yeah, this whole concept of manifestation first made its way into the mainstream in 2006 when The Secret came out. So I actually assumed that the book came out before the movie The Secret, but no, actually the movie came out before the book. And so The Secret is essentially a film by a guy that is basically explaining how he went through this really traumatizing time with his daughter, and how he was able to like get out of that time through a manifestation and a law of attraction. And he shows a lot of different examples of how that was done. I feel like it's a good place to start if you don't know anything about like manifestation and stuff. But yeah, I don't know if it's like the best movie in the world, but yeah, definitely a good base. So that was when manifestation was first really brought into mainstream Western media. And I feel like it's only really in the past couple of years that people have really began to talk about spirituality and manifestation online. I feel like in 2020, that was when I personally really saw spiritual content taking off on social media, which I guess makes sense. Obviously, with the whole COVID pandemic, I guess it was a time where people were forced to spend more time with themselves and be more like retrospective and mindful and introspective as well. So yeah, I think it really makes sense that that was when manifestation and spirituality really had its heyday on social media. I feel like I personally, like that was when I also kind of became more of a spiritual person. Um, and yeah, I think overall it is quite like a positive thing that spirituality kind of made its way into the mainstream media and social media. I felt like when I was younger, people who were like religious or spiritual were almost kind of ostracized, like because obviously like religion in the Western world kind of like had a bit of a downfall in like the late 20th century into the 21st century, because of the rise of science and technology and everything. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like when I was younger, I feel like people who were spiritual or religious were almost kind of looked down upon and seen as like less intelligent because they believed in that. I do think that is quite a narrow colonial mindset when you think about it, because there are so many countries in Africa and Asia where spirituality and religion is really like woven into the fabric of the way that places run. For example, in Hong Kong, where I grew up, in a lot of residential buildings, you'll see a hole in the middle of them because it is believed that there's a dragon that flies from the mountains into the ocean every day, and that space is left for the dragon to like fly through the buildings and allow positive energy to flow. So like, yeah, that's just one example. I feel like there honestly are so many spiritual and religious aspects built into Western societies as well. For example, the fact that we all get a public holiday for Christmas, which I feel like most people have even forgotten is a Christian holiday, but we don't all get a public holiday. For festivities like Ramadan, which a huge amount of our population celebrates. So just like little things like that. So I do think it's cool that this rise in spirituality content has made people become a bit more open-minded and hopefully even given them a chance to become more in touch with themselves. But it's also funny because I feel like in a lot of respects, spirituality content has taken on this kind of like bougie LA travel goals aesthetic. And it's just funny because, for example, with Buddhism, which is the root of a lot of these spiritual practices that we see people practicing online, it was began by the Buddha, Prince Siddhartha. He was an Indian prince who chose to, leave his castle and live below his means. And yeah, so it's just like interesting to see like where we've taken it. And I often feel like maybe we've forgotten the roots of these practices that we're kind of romanticizing. And I do think it is important to remember where they come from and to respect these cultures. But yeah, like as I said in my video where I was talking about people posting about like events like war and such for clout, from their peers, like maybe we should take what we can get, like if that is what it takes for people to become more in touch with themselves and more empathetic towards others, then maybe we can't complain too much. Speaking of images being romanticized, I feel like we have to talk about Pinterest when we're talking about manifestation. I just love seeing the direction that Pinterest has gone in. I feel like when I first began using Pinterest in like 2013 or so, it was very much just like recipes, maybe a cute joke here and there. But these days, like, I feel like the Pinterest aesthetic has become like its own aesthetic, and it has become like the cornucopia of vision board images, and I honestly love it. But yeah, I feel like I just had to mention Pinterest, just had to give it a little shout out. I feel like TikTok as well has been a very huge like hub of spirituality content. I feel like there are so many trending TikTok manifestation sounds of like for example, that ching 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 goes the money tree.
Ching 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 goes the money tree. And every time a ching money comes to me, it all flows in so abundantly from the top, left, right, and up under me.
But yeah, so they have sounds like that, which people have said like, "Oh my god, I became rich after I repeated this sound every day," which I don't know. Yeah, I cannot confirm nor deny the validity of that. But yeah, there are a lot of like trending manifestation sounds on TikTok, and yeah, on Instagram as well. There are a bunch of like astrology accounts. So yeah, I actually managed to accidentally manifest moving halfway across the world this year. So yeah, I want to take you through some steps of how I manifest and how you can manifest. And yeah, I'm going to show you my vision board and everything. So yeah, let's do it, guys. Step number 1 is get clear on your goal or your goals, because like the more detailed the better. Like just put yourself in the shoes of the universe, because the universe is essentially handing out energy. So let's say that you have $1,000 to give out, and two people come to you with yeah two people come to you who like want to use the money for, I don't know, a business or something. And the first person is like, yeah, I want the $1,000 because yeah, I think I could do something cool with it. You'd be like, okay. And then the second person comes and they're like, yes, you should give me that $1,000. This is my business plan. This is how much profit we're going to get the first year, like, and like has their ish together. Like, which one do you think that you're going to choose? So you need to be crystal clear on your goals. And along with that, you obviously need to take like actionable steps. Like manifestation is not just magicking something into real life. It's essentially just goal setting and working towards your goals and aligning yourself with that. And like, honestly, you can take that from a spiritual standpoint or from a scientific standpoint. Like, it's not that deep. But anyway, let's move on to step number 2. So step number 2 is choose your method/methods. And so yeah, it really depends on you. But like, if you're anything like me, the less is more, because I honestly used to go the whole 9 yards with my planning for the year, and it overwhelmed me. But last year, or like this year, I was working a job that I had no time. I was working like double, sometimes triple shifts. And so when it came to my year planning, I was like, okay, you know what? This year, I'm just going to do one thing and one thing only. And that was to make a vision board. This is my 2023 vision board, and pretty much everything came true, including moving to New York City. So, in the middle here, I have my word of the year, which was fruition. And then instead of doing resolutions, I did 4 different affirmations. And I also kind of divided the board into 4 different sections. So, here's more like photography, here's creativity. Here is like abundance, and here's more like relationships. And yeah, I also added a picture of myself to make it easier to like envision myself in these scenarios. I also recommend adding pictures of people who are the same race as you so that it's easier to like envision yourself there. I've also seen people photoshopping their faces onto people's bodies. And yeah, I almost didn't add this picture of New York because I thought I was dreaming too big, and it was the last picture I added. So yeah, don't limit yourself. And also, it's super important to choose the correct method for yourself, because for example, for years, I was frustrated with the fact that I couldn't manifest because I was always scripting. I found out about scripting from Trinity here on YouTube. I watched a video and I was like, yeah, that's for me, because I've been journaling since I was 7 years old. So I just assumed that like, yeah, like why wouldn't my manifestation method be something to do with the journaling? So I was like really on my scripting game for a long time. And scripting is essentially when you like write out like you write from the perspective of a version of you that has already acquired what it is that you desire. And so yeah, I try that a couple of times, and I just began to get really upset with myself because it just wasn't working. But yeah, when I started to vision board, I realized that I'm much more of a visual person when it comes to manifestation. And yeah, so that worked for me. So you got to find what works for you. You can like try different things out as well. So yeah, you can do a vision board, you can do scripting. I also like to make music playlists. I feel like music is a really great way to like truly feel the energy of like the person that you want to be, or like the state you want to be in, or whatever. You can also make a vision book. I actually kind of began a vision book earlier this year. It's basically like a vision board version. I mean, it's basically a book version of a vision board. And I want to try something new this year, which is like putting together video clips which like resonate with what I aspire for. And I haven't heard of this anywhere. It's just like an idea that I have. So I want to try that, and I'll let you know how it works out. Be so picky with the media that you choose to put on your vision board. Like with my vision board, or like, I mean, like this applies to like to any form of manifestation that you choose to do, your vision board or your vision book or playlist or whatever. Like be so picky with like what you choose to put there. Like I am insanely I'm like next level low key, yeah, just like crazy about how picky I am with the images that I put on my vision board. Like if one speck I feel like doesn't fit with the vibe, I'll be like, no, I gotta find a new picture. So yeah, it literally takes me forever to do my vision boards, but we love intention, you know? So now you're clear on your vision, you've chosen your methods, and now it's time to dream big. Like just allocate dedicated time to dream. And like, okay, for me, because I'm a daydreamer, like if I let myself loose, like I will just like daydream for days on end. But yeah, so if you're a daydreamer like me, it's so important to allocate, like to have boundaries about when you allow yourself to dream. So this dreaming time is just dedicated time to envisioning the what you have, you know, made your manifestation for, you know, what you were working towards. That allotted time can be while you're taking a walk, while you're meditating, when you're about to go to bed, you know, like, yeah, just any time that you kind of feel inspired to do it. And when you're not dreaming and like envisioning what you want, I feel like it's so important to practice presence and gratitude, because if you're not grateful for what you have now, like how do you think you're going to be grateful for what you're aspiring to? When you envision this future version of yourself who has what you're hoping to have, like do you envision them sitting around dreaming of what their future self envisions having? No, like I hope that that version of yourself is deeply in the present and enjoying the fruits of your labor. So step number 4, I feel like this is so important. Do not say your wish aloud. I feel like we live in a society of oversharing, especially with social media and everything. We just overshare left and right. But honestly, I feel like a lot of the time it's best to keep your goals to yourself, because I mean, first of all, there are a lot of people out there who don't want to see you win. There are a lot of jealous, envious people out there, and second of all, even the people you love, sometimes because they love you, it's like they'll get worried and they might end up putting doubts into your head. There are some circumstances where you may need to share like your goal or whatever with like let's say for example your goal is like getting healthier, and you live with your partner, so you have to like, I don't know, inform them that you're not gonna buy ice cream anymore. I don't know, you know, like there are obviously like some specific goals like that, but if it's something that like doesn't need to be shared, then don't share it. Because I mean, like even if you, I mean, it's not even necessarily like, oh, if you say your wish aloud, the universe won't grant it to you. It's just literally like just don't share everything. Like wouldn't it be so much better to just share the good news once it's happened? Like, don't rush to share. Yeah, I feel like oversharing is like a whole other topic to go into, oversharing on the internet. But yeah. And the fifth and final step, which is honestly the most important, let it go. Let it go. Do not hold onto it and be desperately wishing for it. I feel like this is a mistake that I made. And yeah, I feel like, for example, I was saying like for years, I was like so gung ho on like wanting to manifest stuff, like the people that I was seeing manifest things online. And I feel like a big part of the reason why that maybe wasn't happening for me was because I was like holding so tight onto the manifestation of being like, oh, like when is this gonna happen? Like once again, put yourself in the shoes of the universe. Like, is it attractive to you when someone wants to date you and they're like so desperate, like, please, oh my god, I want you, please, you're so amazing. Like when someone behaves like that, you feel like they're like they're devaluing themselves, which makes you like not attracted to them. And I feel like it's a similar thing with the universe. So like, yeah, just don't be a desperate hoe. Yeah, I'm honestly talking to myself as well here. And this is honestly a lesson that I learned with my vision board this year. When I was about like 3/4 way through the year, I like looked at my vision board because I always make my vision board my laptop background. So yeah, I was always obviously like subconsciously seeing it, but I was never really like actively looking at it. But around quarter way through the year, I was like, okay, let me like go through my vision board. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I've actually manifested most of this. And from then on, I got so excited that I kept checking my vision board and being like, oh, okay, so like now I need to manifest this. And I swear, once I started to like focus on the things I hadn't manifested yet and kind of like waiting for them to manifest and getting excited because I was like, oh, like all the other stuff has come through. So yeah, I basically got overexcited because almost everything on my vision board had come true. So I was just like, waiting like a dog, you know, for the other stuff to come true. And I feel like as soon as I did that, like as soon as I started consciously waiting for stuff to come true, like stuff stopped coming true. So yeah, you gotta let it go. Don't be a desperate hoe. You gotta let it go. That's your mantra for 2024. Yeah, so we're gonna go through the steps one more time. So step number 1, get clear on your goal and make sure it's really your goal and not someone else's. Step number 2, choose your method. That can be a vision board, a vision book, a playlist, scripting, whatever floats your boat. Step number 3, dream big. Dedicated daydreaming time. Yes, you deserve it. Step number 4, do not say your wish aloud. Step number 5, let it go. And yeah, it's honestly pretty crazy because I honestly had pretty low hopes at the beginning of the year when I made my vision board. And I feel like that almost helped me because, for example, I almost didn't put that image of New York on my vision board because I thought I was dreaming too big. I was like, no, it's probably not gonna happen. Like, there's no point of doing this. And yeah, I was honestly like being quite negative about it, but I just decided to put it there. It was the last image that I put on there. And yeah, it actually came true in the most completely unexpected way. And I feel like you never know how your manifestations are going to happen because it was through kind of stressful, unfortunate circumstances that I kind of ended up here. But at the end of the day, like, I'm so happy to be here. It hasn't been an easy journey, and like I'm still figuring things out, but like it's just so incredible to me that like yeah, like honestly the first week that I was here, or even like the first month I was here, I was just in a state of shock. Like, what is happening? Like, yeah, I just couldn't believe it. But yeah, like, and also like even me sitting here and doing this podcast at the start of the year when I was creating my vision board, I just felt drawn to this picture that I saw on Pinterest of this girl with a mic. And I had no inkling, I had like no thought to start a podcast or anything at that point, but I don't know, I just felt like putting it on my vision board for some reason. And I didn't even realize until after yeah, I began the podcast that had actually been on my vision board. So many other little things, like even me getting my camcorder, I like it's only after I got it that I looked at my vision board and I was like, oh damn, like it was on there. With manifestation, don't be afraid to be seen as too woo woo. It doesn't really matter how you got there as long as you got there. I mean, you can choose to see it from the more spiritual standpoint of, oh, I manifested and the universe gifted this to me. Or you can see it from the scientific standpoint of, oh, I made a vision board and these images subconsciously went into my brain and affected my day-to-day actions. It's like two roads that lead to the same destination. And does it really matter which one led you there if you got there? No. It could also be both of those things that led you there. Like, it really doesn't matter. I feel like not that deep. People like really take it too seriously sometimes. I'm honestly really glad that like manifestation has made its way into the mainstream and is encouraging people to take control of their destinies, because honestly we live in a society that is built to make us passive and to kind of just go along with the current. And if you don't stand up and like, take action and fight for like what you want, especially if that is like even a little bit outside of the usual path of people in the world, then you're probably not going to get it, or you're going to wake up and regret. And I'm still young, but I feel like I do feel some type of way about things that I didn't do earlier, because I felt like I had to follow a certain path that like society had laid out for me, or I felt like I didn't want to disappoint certain people. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's your life, and like, yeah, just like get it. Yeah, go get your life, fetch your life. It's waiting for you. And yeah, honestly, I think that there is a reason why we desire the things that we desire, and that the things that you want you back. They think you're hot. So yeah, I think that is all I have to say for this video. And yeah, wow, the year is coming to a close. Really excited for what 2024 has to bring. Let me know if you're gonna try and manifest anything for 2024, or if you want to share any of your New Year's resolutions or anything. One of my New Year's resolutions slash things I want to manifest is just getting into hobbies again. I feel like I had so many hobbies when I was a kid, and yeah, I just like don't have any like proper hobbies anymore. So yeah, I wanna hobby it out in 2024. Let me know if there are any hobbies that you recommend.